Hey friends, we're adding a bonus reading today because little Frodo pulled out something really interesting, especially in light of the recent messages between Gypsy and Rachel Garlic that were released after Rachel decided to do an auction of her messages between herself and Kian. So, after a quick disclaimer, let's get right into it. These emails were obtained legally through the Freedom of Information Act and the Missouri Sunshine Laws. All prisoner communications are subject to Freedom of Information Act request. If you'd like to follow along in the reading, there will be a link in the description to the Reddit post that shows the particular group of emails that I'm going over. Okay, the first email is outbound from Gypsy to Jeff, and she gives a little hint towards something that she wants to tell him about. The email says, if I had a current status update, it would be hashtag newly single after 2 years, hashtag looking for companionship, hashtag no true crime junkies, dudes with knives, or lives with parents. Hashtag, if you have bought my pre-worn panties from eBay, you need not apply. LOL, I thought you might find my humor amusing. So today, I only cried 5 times. I think it is getting a little better. Today was a pretty chilly day. I'm watching a monster movie marathon. I love October. Smile. It's starting to get a little chilly out. I feel winter will be here before I know it. Tongue face. I don't know if I will be able to talk this Tuesday. I have a double chapter class in the morning, then I have to work. So if on the off chance I don't call, I'll definitely catch up with you on the following Tuesday. Smile. I hope your jet lag is better and you got to catch up on some well needed sleep. Smile. Talk to you soon. And then the next one is also outbound from Gypsy to Jeff. LOL. So the backstory on the eBay panties. That was a guy that my best girly friend Blank found online on the dark web, and he was interested in selling all things Gypsy Blanchard on a site called Murd3robilia, and the money would go to Blank to help her out with the expenses of having a new baby. Anywho, the guy wanted to sell my pictures, drawings, ID card, and signed panties. Well, I refused to send him anything. That was like in March. Now he has been sending me emails again, trying to get me to call him, hitting on me because he heard I'm single. A way to a gal's heart is not by asking for her panties from the get, especially not to sell because that's so romantic. Rolls eyes. So I asked Blank to message him requesting he leave me alone. I'm not interested. So my underwear was never up for sale, but it made for a crazy story. Tongue face. That must have been exciting to live near such a historical area. Salem is one of the most noted and haunted places in the country. I can imagine locals throw one hell of a shebang for Halloween. I remember traveling to Mass and it was so beautiful. We passed through New Bedford, New Haven, Boston, and stayed in Cape. The one thing that seems to stick out in my mind is the smell of the sea in the air. I liked it. Smile. What is your most memorable thing about your childhood or teen years there? What do I like to watch? Well, I have eclectic taste in TV and film. Action, fantasy would be a genre that is my biggest interest. Horror is not a big interest unless it's October, and then I'll watch them to get in the Halloween mood, or I will occasionally watch if I have someone to hold tight to when I get scared. Those Annabelle dolls are creepy as hell. I do like comedy. Deadpool is both comedy, action, and I just love the sarcastic humor. Throwing out titles of just shows or movies I like: Game of Thrones, Supernatural, Reign, Once Upon a Time, New Girl, Blood Drive, which that show is seriously the most fucked up TV show ever made. LOL, it's like OMG, but it's so effed up you can't look away. The Bachelor, Alaskan Bush People, The Tudors, Blank ruins everything. They censored, breaking in here, they censored a name in a TV show. Okay, back to the email. 90 Day Fiance, Married at First Sight, Vikings, The Good Doctor, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Hunger Games, Avengers, Army of Darkness, Splash, Forrest Gump. As you can see, I have many. I just watched this movie that was so good, but so sad. It's called 5 Feet Apart. Another good movie similar to that is Everything. Everything is about a girl with a mother with Munchausen by proxy. Yeah, I can relate. Spoiler alert, the girl finds out she's not really sick. That was emotional to watch. Two more sappy films is Me Before You and Breathe. As I said, I can watch anything as long as I can curl up under a warm blanket and have a bag of popcorn in hand. Oh, and Back to the Future is totally on that list as well. Smile. Maybe I'll call on a random day, but Tuesdays is our day. Smile. By the way, keep an eye on the mail. Smile. So, yeah, Gypsy says that Rachel found a guy online on the dark web who is interested in selling all things Gypsy Blanchard on a site called Murd3robilia. And she says he wanted to sell her pictures, drawings, ID cards, and signed pennies. Honestly, y'all, Gypsy, whenever she decided, in my opinion, allegedly to leak her Blown Beauty art page to someone so that she would get known, since it wasn't definitely going to get followings, not just under no one knowing that she was someone famous. She knew that people would buy that for her signature for Murd3robilia. I feel like this is confirmation. She knows what she's up to. What do y'all think? Am I right or am I reaching there? So, Lil Ferdo also included the screenshots that Rachel Garlick shared of the messages that Gypsy sent her right after Rachel started auctioning off her messages with Kian. And they mention the panties. So I'm sure that Gypsy, whenever we started reading the emails, probably remembered this email. She knew Rachel would leak the message and was trying to get ahead of it. Let's read what she has to say here. Gypsy says to Rachel, and there's a part before that it's cut off. Okay, she's talking about the billboard and she says something clearly it must have said, how would you feel if Nimi was on that billboard? You say you never wanted to be in front of cameras, but when I called you to invite you to my release party, you told me I got to clean my house to get ready for the camera crew. So you may not have wanted interviews, but you wanted to be on my show. Like I said, and I'll say it again, I know what real friendship is, and you were never a real friend. Go back to peddling which shreds of an old friendship you had with me is left. I'm so glad I didn't give you my underwear that you wanted me to give you so you could sell it on the internet when I was still in prison and we were still actually friends. You were trying to mooch off me way back then, trying to sell my panties on the dark web. Bet, and then it cuts off there. And then at the end, she says, something like, so with that being said, Rachel, owe you nothing. I owe everyone else nothing. What I owe myself and the family I created is everything. Have a nice life. And Rachel replied, I didn't ask you for your underwear. I don't even know how to get on the dark web. LOL. I said a guy said you could probably do that. Yes, I am going to post it because you continually show what a terrible person you are. By the way, my exact words were, I don't want cameras in my life because, and then hers cuts off there. So, yeah, what do y'all think, friends? I bet Gypsy was all about it. I bet whoever did it turned out to like not be legit or something. What do y'all think is the real truth scenario of why it didn't actually happen? Or do you think it did happen and neither one of them wanted to admit it? Let me know in the comments, friends. Also, the fawn didn't come back today, but whenever we were in Colorado for CrimeCon, we saw these two little bunny rabbits outside of the hotel and I got to film them. So we'll go out with little bunny rabbit palette cleanser today. Have a good day, everyone. This is great palette cleanser material. Direct from Grand County. They're so cute. Just